it's a very good afternoon to you all over the nation's capital, wherever it is that you're listening or watching from. If you're on our Facebook or YouTube, I welcome you very, very specially to Hard Facts this afternoon. It's the 16th day of October 2025. Just in case you started and you wrote the date wrong, just bringing you up to speed on that one. 3:17 p.m. is the time. Apologies for starting a little late. And so we're just going to get straight into it. My name is Somi. That's Somi, short for Apeno Somi, and you are welcome to Hard Facts. It's a pre-weekend edition, but the stories are still quite top front burner, rather. So let's look at them and then allow you to be our guests while we open up the phone lines right after the analysis. First off, the reps are busy. They have been busy. They're putting out quite a number of things. And as far as this one is concerned, they're looking still at the oil sector and looking to probe a $35 million failed modular refinery project in Niger Delta State. In the Niger Delta, forgive me. Lawmakers noted that the investment was brought about with intention to support modular refineries across the Niger Delta, in line with the government's policy to expand Nigeria's revenue base, reduce foreign exchange pressure, and lower debt burdens by promoting indigenous refining. Something that a lot of people will say it's a brilliant one if we can do that. Conversations have been, had over time where people are saying, okay, apart from what's going on in the private sector with the Dangote refinery, these are some of the areas the government can refocus their interest, to say, get these ones that are sort of informal in nature, or some people would argue in structure, and at least let them start to run, at a regional level or at a state level at the very least. Let's have these modular refineries running. And this is something that was considered in 2020, as far back as 2020, when the NCDMB, that's the Nigeria Contents Development and Monitoring Board, thought to, support a project. But this is 5 years down the line, and it never materialized. So yes, the House of Representatives resolved to investigate the circumstances surrounding this particular project and the alleged mismanagement of a $35 million investment, and to see what happened. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion moved by Billy Osawaru, APC Edo, during yesterday's plenary, and the motion raised concerns about the non-existence of the name of this project being the Atlantic International Refinery and Petrochemical Limited. This was where the monies were invested to, and look, it's 5 years. What's going on? We haven't seen anything about it, despite all the promises that it held. So according to the lawmaker, the initiative was started actually under President Muhammadu Buhari and continued under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, which has identified indigenous refining as a cornerstone of energy independence, job creation, and industrial revitalization. So, where is this money? And this is what this probe is seeking to unearth. So, this one of those things that happens. You have committees set up within the Legislative House to look into some of these things, and really and truly, I hope they put their hearts into it, like they put everything into it to get this out. Because as far back as 2024, stakeholders on this matter had petitioned the EFCC to probe this $35 million investment by the NCDMB, including the Atlantic Refinery project. But according to the report put forward on the House, the anti-graft agency remained silent nearly a year after, and the continued inactivity of the modular refinery project, of course, is raising cause for concern. Mr. Osawaru, who put the motion forward, stressed this. Of course, it was subjected to a debate. Minority Leader Honorable Kingsley Chida, PDP Rivers, expressed dismay over the situation, describing it as a reflection of the poor governance culture that has crippled Nigeria's oil sector. And when this statement was made, the question always, I think, on the minds of a lot of Nigerians, one on my mind always is, if this is a reflection of poor governance culture, crippling the oil sector, where does the buck stop? Who's responsible for this, and how can they be brought to account for the funds and brought to book? So this is not just one of those conversations that comes to the limelight. It's put out in the media and it looks like, oh yeah, this is something that's going to go quite a long way, and we're going to get some scapegoats at the very least, and then nothing happens. Chinda continuing said that it appears today we're a nation that not only eats our profits but eats our investment, and we refer to the oil sector being the economic nerve of the country as somewhere where you find out that those in public office appear to be using to set the country back. And again, very importantly, cautioned against treating the matter as just another motion that will be referred to a committee without follow-up action. But it remains to see if there is going to be any follow-up action. The House subsequently mandated its committees on midstream, downstream and legislative compliance to investigate this $35 million investment and report back within 4 weeks. And as God helps us, we will be following through to see the next 1 month what's come out of it, what conversations have been had, who have they probed, who have they queried, and all of that. But the lawmakers, according to this report, are hoping that it will uncover the circumstances surrounding the failed project, determine those responsible, and ensure that public funds are recovered and accounted for. And I say a big amen to that. $35 million is a lot of money. I believe the NCDMB, if this report is anything to go by, who are the ones that made the investment, should have also been asking some very pertinent questions and putting out reports here and there, because it's been 5 years. Who collected the money? Another story that we find ourselves asking in Nigeria. That's our first of the big three stories this afternoon. I will just make mention of the next one. By the time we come back from the commercial break, we get into the analysis of it as well, and then see about opening up the phone lines after the final story is shared. Court-ordered medical panel has declared Nnamdi Kanu fit to stand for the terrorism trial. A court-ordered panel said that, he's good enough to face, to continue with his trial, seeing as his medical condition is not one that would greatly perturb him, or not, that's not the word, that would greatly prevent him from attending this court. And this team, constituted by the president of the Nigerian Medical Association, based on the order of the Federal High Court in Abuja, made this declaration in his report, which was submitted to the court on the 13th of October. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and get more into that story.
Audio
Connection established.
Welcome back to Hard Facts.
This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
right, thank you for sticking with us here on your number one talk station 95.1 Nigeria Info. The conversations continues on the big three. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, so feel free to go on there and be a part of the conversation. Go to Nigeria Info Abuja on Facebook as well as on YouTube, and you can comment there, and we will be sure to take your comments. All right, we're looking at the decision reached to go ahead and let Nnamdi Kanu stand, as he has been declared fit to stand and face his trials, if you will. Nnamdi Kanu, of course, has been in custody since 2021, in custody of the State Security Service, as a matter of fact, facing charges of carrying out terrorist activities, including broadcasting threats across Nigeria to achieve the secession of the country's Igbo-dominated southeastern states and part of neighboring regions in the sovereign nation. And even though he's denied all charges in the trial, which commenced in 2015 but began afresh before Judge James Omotosho in 2025, the matter is still very much on ground. Through his lawyers, he applied for a transfer to National Hospital for treatment based on a medical evaluation by a professor of medicine. And his lawyer, Onyechi Ikpeazu, also told Mr. Omotosho during the 26 September proceedings that the professor's medical report was addressed to the SSS. And following the application, the judge ordered the NMA president to set up a team of medical experts to examine his state of health. The judge also directed the committee to ascertain whether he was fit to undergo his ongoing trial, and that is the report that came out today. The NMA has come out to say that he's fit to stand trial, and the report was read in open court during today's proceedings in court. Based on the report and in the absence of any objection from the lawyers to the parties, Mr. Motosho said the court was satisfied that defendant could proceed with the trial, and he subsequently granted the defendant 6 consecutive days beginning from 23rd of October to open and close his defense. The judge also granted an oral application to the defense lawyer Kanu Agabi San that Mr. Kanu's legal team be allowed private consultation with the defendant outside the premises of the SSS, where the IPOB leader is being detained. And this matter came up because Mr. Agabi had said that the defense team feared that his discussions with Mr. Kanu will be recorded by the SSS. And so Mr. Motosho, of course, granted the request that the private meeting be held in the courtroom with only the defendant and the lawyers present. All of this happening even while groups are calling for protest. Showore, as a matter of fact, has been announcing a scheduled protest for the 20th of October. And former Senate President Adolphus Wabara has come out to express his support for the planned protest for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. And he put forward his support in a solidarity letter dated 13th of October, hailing Showore and others taking part in the protest for continued efforts to speak up for justice, equity, and national reconciliation. And he said, and I quote, "Unfortunately, I'm out of the country. I will not be able to join you physically on that day. However, please know that I am with you in spirit and in full support of every peaceful effort aimed at securing justice and national reconciliation." And he ended by saying that he wishes Showore and all the participants a peaceful and successful outing. Showore had earlier on in the month announced plan to lead this protest to free Kanu from detention, which he has tagged illegal, with the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu. And Showore had visited various areas in Abuja asking residents to join the protest and also calling on politicians from the southeast, including Peter Obi, to join the protest. This is the update coming from the Nnamdi Kanu case. The court declaring him fit to stand trial while plans for a protest are on the way. Okay, we'll take a look at the last story and then open up the phone lines and allow you to join in the analysis. What are your thoughts on the stories so far? I will do that very shortly, but let's take the final story very quickly. And this has to do with the Senate as well, this time around stepping down electoral bill for more consultation. This happened today. They stepped down the electoral bill 2025, a subject of major discourse and controversy in some instances, to allow room for more consultations. And this came about after the chairman of the Senate Committee on Electoral Matters, Senator Simon Lalong of Plateau South, rounded up presenting the lead debate on the general principles of the bill. Senate President Godswill Akpabio, who presided over the session, said Lalong did not give details in the general principles of the bill and suggested an executive session to consider the bill. But the leader of the Senate, Okwemi Bamidele Ekiti Central, said the day was too auspicious for the Senate to go into any executive session and suggested that the bill be stepped down or for another legislative day. And this was put to a voice vote, which senators approved to its stepping down. I think this particular story, I don't know, for some reason is of major concern. We've heard a lot in the past few days, starting from Monday, when consultations and discussions happened, chaired by the Joint Committee on Electoral Matters. And we've tried as much as possible to bring forward some of the conversations that have been had on the electoral bill, looking to be amended 2025. Even yesterday, Senator Bamidele talked about the fact that they're looking to wrap things up by December 2025. I don't know how else to say that Nigerians should find a way to get in on the conversation. Yes, there were consultations done at the level of stakeholders and all of that, but this is the final bit of the bill. And I'm thinking, is it too late to call for lobbying? Like, what are the general principles of the bill that's being discussed in the House, and what is it that not enough detail was given about? Perhaps if it's for the people to join in on the conversation or lobby their lawmakers to be able to, ready them for whatever it is that should be in it and should not be in it, so that if what Senator Bamidele said is anything to go by December of this year, if it's not hurried, because I have mixed feelings about that date, December, for the electoral bill to be concluded on. I mean, it would be great if that can happen, especially if it has the key provisions that would allow for Nigerians to have increased trust and faith in the process. But let's get your thoughts on all the stories shared so far. 07009510000, 009-597-4869. And on WhatsApp, it's 009-993-0137. On WhatsApp, if you are sending a voice note, please be sure to keep it short and sweet. No more than 1 minute, 30 seconds tops. I can push a little bit beyond that, but typically 1 minute, 30 seconds. Once it hits the 2 minutes mark, it becomes a bit of a problem. So let's get as many contributions as possible. Okay, let's talk. Good afternoon.
Hello, Somi.
Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon. Sorry for the noise. Sometimes we listen on gadget and while listening to you. So sorry about that.
It's fine, sir.
My name is Salasi.
Welcome.
I want to talk about the release of Showore. Honestly, we know what happened in the Southeast due to the arrest of Showore. And I'm telling you, Somi, still up to now, on some Mondays, you dare not go out in the Southeast. And that thing affect the people of the Southeast.
So you mean the release of Nnamdi Kanu, not Showore?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes. I'm in support of his release. Because when you go to the Southeast, in fact, you dare not allow Monday to curfew in the Southeast. Because of these people protest. Innocent people lost their life. Our gallant men lost their life. A lot of people lost their life. If they can pardon Boko Haram, if they can pardon some people that they killed their husbands, and they later got pardon, why can't they do the same to Showore? We will all know about the repentant Boko Haram, bringing them back to society. They spend our hard-earned taxpayer money to rehabilitate these criminals. Well, why can't they do the same? What is good for Bala is also good for Bulus. So that you see how they will negotiate and see how they will give him condition about Sawi, telling him that as we are releasing you, if we hear any pen, we are coming after you. And that will be there are some the elders in that place that don't want Showore to be released. That's why
Nnamdi
I'm
Kanu.
now.
Salasi, you keep
Yes.
saying Showore. Is it Kanu or Showore? I just want to be sure. You keep saying for the release of
Nnamdi Kanu,
Showore.
sorry, my
Okay,
dear sister.
all right.
My
Okay.
dear sister.
Go ahead.
Nnamdi Kanu, I'm talking about Nnamdi Kanu.
Thank you,
because
go
he has
ahead.
been in incarceration for all this while. So if they can be able to do that, if the elders will come out publicly, all the elders in the southeast should come out. Me and Ade Wumi always talk about that. They should come out in solidarity. You see what happened to Sunday Igboho? The people from the southwest come out and support Sunday Igboho, and they pleaded for him. Why can't the people, the elders from the southeast, do the same?
Okay.
I'm not happy about that. Thank you so much.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Today,
Welcome, sir.
Ambassador Salasa, I greet you. The man is coming from Niger State, Chief Tower Deputy for the masses. This man has been there now, the current since 2017. I didn't tell you, and some of us have been sick with travel abroad for our treatment. I didn't tell you all that this man is not being controlled by flesh and blood. You see, most of us, personally self, at times, every month we get sick, every week we get sick, we treat ourselves. But this man, just giving the chance to treat himself, they say no. And even in the constitution, a freedom of conducting a referendum, you understand? If he doesn't want conduct referendum, you understand? So that we know our fate. This will happen. Why you see that is this 2022 election? You understand? After the election, they tell us that the INEC could not upload. Before you know it, the INEC come and asked us that we should go to court just because of one man. Why are we being treated like that? So I think they should make an adjustment and release this man politically. That's my take. Thank you and God bless Nigeria.
All right, then. Thank you so much. We're still taking your thoughts on the big three. Let's look at some messages very quickly right after this call. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Somi.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Jonathan from Kopa here.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think the problem with the release of Nnamdi Kanu is it confirms around the southeastern elite because they want to rule the country by all means.
Who?
They sabotage and
Who wants to rule the country by all means?
the Easterners.
I see.
So some of the elite, they are trying every means to sabotage the release of Nnamdi Kanu because they know that by the time he comes out again, he will now begin to mobilize and then agitate for the southeast for the southeast freedom, and so they don't want it. Do you think that him remaining there is just by mere politics? The people, his own people's hands are there. They make sure that he remains there so that they can achieve their political will. So it's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. But I pray that with the protest, this upcoming protest that is coming now, I pray that something tangible will be done. But look at Sunday Igboho, the same man who, the same man, this is so that we go now, that has the same ideology with him. He has been released since. So I wonder why the Easterners cannot collaborate for him to be released. Please, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate you.
All right. Let's see very quickly again what the messages are saying. I've got a few voice notes as well. Okay. Politicians, intelligentsia, and traders of Eastern extraction will not join Shora's protest, Henry Ewunonu says. He said they will, however, be the ones to lead the solidarity march for the presidential election. We solve every other challenge except ours. Okay. This is from Eric here. Please, those that are playing or planning for the counter protests are putting salt to injury. For example, the El Zagzaki protest, did the government release him? All right. A concerned Nigerian here says any electoral amendment that would not stop elected officials from decamping with elected office will be seen as a waste of time and deceit. Defection is legal, but defecting with elected posts should be seen as illegal. Resign from your post if you want to decamp. Politicians are making a mockery of our judicial system. Well, I mean, I hear you when you say that defecting with elected posts should be seen as illegal, but is it currently seen as illegal? If not, what we should be calling for perhaps is an introduction to the act that accounts for that or accommodates for such things to be deemed illegal. And so perhaps instead of saying that the entire Electoral Amendment Act is a waste of time because it doesn't stop or elected officials from decamping, how about we advocate to put it in there? I don't know. What are your thoughts concerned Nigerian? Because there's so much more to the Electoral Act. One key thing I think that a lot of the people on the electorate end have been pushing for is electronic transmission of results. So I'm just trying to understand your message. Are you saying that perhaps if you have that and a few others that allow for a more robust electoral process, as long as the politicians are defecting, then it makes nonsense of the rest of it? Help me understand your point there. I'm just, rubbing minds with you. Let's take this voice note.
Madam Somi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nigerian Info family. My name is Harry, doing this VM from Abuja. Let me start by the Nnamdi Kanu case. I think there is more of political interference in this case than the real fact itself. This case is highly politicized because I don't know what is the offense of this man. No court has proven him guilty, neither have there been any charge filed against him that has been substantiated. Now, there are people we've seen who are broad-day terrorists. They know them, and yet they've not apprehended them. Nothing the government is doing. So this thing, I don't like the situation whereby they are using deodorant for some persons and insecticides for some persons. This is injustice, and Nigeria should rise against it, irrespective of tribe, religion, and what have you. I'm in full support of that protest. That's the truth. It's not now they will begin to want to act as though they are speeding up the issue. They have all the time for over 5-6 years ago to do those things. They did not do it. So I'm fully in support of it. They cannot try this to somebody from the north or somebody from the southwest or something like that. So I'm in support. Then for this electoral reform, these senators, they want to still buy time again. They will not amend that bill because they know that the moment they do it, they've lost power. They've lost control. They will not work against something that is against their own interest. That's my take. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you for your voice note. Just to provide a little more context on this case, Nnamdi Kanu had been discharged and acquitted by the Court of Appeal in Abuja in 2022, but the Nigerian government was said to have blocked his release, claiming that he could be unavailable in subsequent court proceedings if he was released, and that his release will cause insecurity in the southeast where he comes from. They later appealed the court ruling, acquitting him, and subsequently obtained an order staying the execution of the court judgment at the Supreme Court, and that is where we are today. On the 15th of December 2023, the Supreme Court reversed the acquittal granted in 2022 to Mr. Kanu by the lower court and consequently ordered continuation of his trial at the Federal High Court in Abuja. And as of this year, 19th of June 2025, the Nigerian government closed its case against the leader against the IPOB leader after the fifth prosecution witness was led in evidence and cross-examined by Mr. Kanu's lawyer, Onyeji Bezu, before Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja. And so the conversation around why he's still there or not is persisting, because instead of opening his defense after the federal government closed their case, Kanu, through his lawyers, filed a no-case submission to seek dismissal of the charges on the grounds that the evidence presented by the prosecution failed to establish any case against him to warrant him entering any defense. And despite initial opposition by prosecution lawyers, the court later accepted Mr. Kanu's application for the no-case submission, but on September of the 26th, then dismissed the no-case submission filed by Mr. Kanu and order him to enter his defense. Subsequently, we had the conversation around health and health concerns, which is why, as at today in October, what we are getting is the conclusion reached by the NMA to say that he's fit to stand trial, not denying the fact that he has a medical ailment, but stating that his medical ailment is not life-threatening, and that's why we are still on this case as of today. Let's take some calls. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Simi.
Welcome.
Okay, my name is John.
Yes, John.
Okay, and the issue of Nnamdi Kanu release, I think just like one of your voice notes said, the thing has been politicized because in this country we saw the leaders of bandits being the government negotiating with terrorists. They came with their arms and ammunition, machine guns, and you are negotiating with this man. I remember when the military invaded Nnamdi Kanu's house in Abia State. They didn't find not even a bullet, one bullet. They didn't find anything, arms or ammunition. Sunday Igbohu house was invaded in Oyo State. They find AK-47 and some local rifle and some weapons. But yes, he has gotten his freedom. Why is this man so different? It's so unfortunate because the people from that region have been, shouting marginalization. And when you look at what is happening, this is why many of us who never believe in what he's saying are believing, because of what is happening today is truly, showing that really what Nnamdi Kanu was saying before today is true. Because what we are seeing today has, there is nothing anybody can tell me that the Southeast people are not being treated differently in this country. And when they say they want to go, it looks like they are, making trouble. Allow them to go. If you don't want them to be part of the country, let them go so that you can have your Nigeria and have it very well. Why them to have their nation and have it very well? That is my own take.
All right.
Peace to reign in this country. They should free Nnamdi Kanu.
All right,
peace
then.
to reign. Thank you. I have a good.
Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. I have another voice note here. Okay.
Yes, Nana from Etama. This electoral reform will not work because they know it will affect their re-election. And also they should understand that Nigeria should be aware that why they are proposing conducting an election by November next year is because they knew that Nigerians may be on the streets to protect their vote, to make sure their votes count. An international committee will influence the election, making sure the election counts. So now, what they are planning is that let us do the election by November so that if the opposition wins, the government can still be in power and do the court process so they can come through court and return back through court. By 6 months, the opposition might have exhausted all you have. And mind you that international community has nothing to do with our courts, our judiciary. Nigerians be wise. If they do it that way, we also have what to do. They should know that we are not fools. Thank you very much.
All right, let's see what your comments are saying on Facebook. Peter Ome says Kanu will be released after the 2027 elections. He says if Kanu were to be released before the elections, it would hurt the current president's fortune in the north. He says if Tinubu can pardon the debts, pardoning Kanu will be very easy, but that will be after the election. Peter Ome from Massacre. Hafsat Muazi, we see you. Good afternoon to you too. Henry, I think I've taken your message already. And also Francis Namani says the new INEC chairman should do everything possible. Okay. Okay. I mean, we didn't treat that, but I believe this is in view of the fact that Amupiton was at the Senate for the screening. He's been confirmed, actually. So I'll just take your message. It says, in new INEC chairman should do everything possible to bring sanity and credibility to our electoral process. So many Nigerians have lost confidence in INEC, and this narrative must be corrected, which brings us back to the conversation around the electoral amendment bill that has been put forward. It's currently stepped down, but Senate is saying will be passed come December 2025. That's 2 months from now. But they've stepped it down. Not sure what that will translate to. Perhaps in the next legislative session that they have is when they plan to bring it up. I don't know. It's not clear for how long it's going to be stepped down. But this, whatever the case is, Amopiton, who is currently in effect now, the INEC chairman, as confirmed by the Senate, Professor Amopiton, I don't know if he can even play any role in discussions that are being had currently around the electoral amendment bill, but it still remains for us to see. Okay, I will take this message here. So, it's easy to speak English that Nnamdi Kanu did not do anything. But those who are saying that should know that the same Kanu made a video in which he was seen and heard saying Lagos State should be burned down. He ordered his boys to kill any police officers and military officers at sight, and he placed a monetary reward on whoever. Okay. Sunday Igboho's case, he says, is different in that he didn't threaten the state and government, but Nnamdi Kanu did. Joseph Sam from Airport Road here, I think, on the other end, about the whole Nnamdi Kanu release issue. But here's the thing. He has been, based on this report now, of course, the no case submission we saw was thrown out. So it still remains to see if he's even going to come forward and put any defense forward. I think he's supposed to start that on the 20th, which is next week. But will he actually put any case forward? The drama continues. I'll take this last message and then we go on a commercial break. Apena Somi, my often reiterating question is, what does the federal government actually want to achieve from Nnamdi Kanu's case by their continuance accusation? Okay, let's take this after the break. It's a long one.
Ninja people, you sabi event something with
any, but if you do, please remind me. After mass destruction of Boko Haram, terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, you call them repented, then inculcated them into society and kept the meaning, the freedom of Kanu. I'm not from the eastern part of Nigeria, he says, but I consider federal government's treatment towards them as marginalization. It should let the young man be for the sake of sanity. Okay. Oh, dear God, I was just about to pick your call. Please call me back. 0700951 009-597-4869. And the number on
Hi,
WhatsApp.
Somi.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, this is like speaking.
All right, go ahead.
Look, Somi, I think Nigeria were very deceived.
Say that again, please. Your line is not too clear. You said Nigeria what?
anytime. Um,
Otie, please, you're going to have to call me back. Your line is terribly, terribly unclear, and I couldn't make out what you were saying. Let's take this. Good afternoon. Hello? Sure.
See, the problem I have is we have just put a lot of emissions. Let's look at this rationally. Nnamdi Kanu, he was instigating violence. He was arrested under Buhari. A lot of people mounted pressure, begged, did this, did that. He was released. When he was released, what happened? He simply got mad and increased the incitement of violence. Everybody has half the sense, half sense knows that once this man goes out and he leaves this country, he's going to put more fire into it. Everybody, this guy is not going to. He's a warlord. And one thing about warlords is until they are captured, until the war gets to them, they will watch their own people burn and they will continue that war. It was the same thing that happened to Ojukwu. Ojukwu could not win that war. He knew his people were dying from hunger, but he never gave up. He just wanted to continue to burn until they were never about to catch him. And he ran away. That is what warlords do. Anybody who can think knows that once this man gets out, he's going to instigate more violence and his system is never going to end until he's eliminated. That is what is going to happen. People are saying he didn't do anything. So have you listened to this man instigate violence, asking for police to be killed, asking for people to be beheaded? See, have you heard what is the cause of this mess you have to believe? Everybody knows that once this man is out, it is a fresh problem. So what I'm talking about, are you copying it in Igbo? So let us please be rational. This man has been released before. Instead of him to change, he didn't change.
Okay.
Fire. What do you think is going to happen now?
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll take a message and then we'll have to go for the news. We will continue with your contributions for another 10-15 minutes after that and then we'll wrap it up. Good afternoon, Somi. The judicial arm of the government in Nigeria, is it working? James Ahua is asking. He says, if it's working, to whose dictate and overall interest does it work? You can imagine since 2021 that Kanu's trial began, one is yet to know the angle at which the case aim is to be achieved. Is it that there is not enough evidence to deliver judgment for or against him? This going back and forth on this case does not spell doom for the Nigerian judiciary. Does it not spell doom for the Nigerian judiciary when someone's right is being denied and frustrated, even when a court of competent jurisdiction gives judgment for him to be freed? I'm very much in support of the release from prison. Thank you.
The hub for information,
Current affairs and more.
The president used his last Democracy Day address to talk about several issues, including security.
It is this same government that they started it. They don't obey conduct.
Join the conversation
right here.
Let's talk.
Conservationists believe that educating young people about Kano's walls' historic value is the most important step to take in order to preserve them from loss due to government's inaction.
Another piece of the puzzle now revealed. Keep questioning, keep listening. Only on Nigeria Info.
95.1 Nigeria Info. Welcome back to Hard Facts.
This is Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
Hard Facts.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info.
Thank you for staying with us. We are back to wrap up our big three, and we're going to be doing that in the next quarter of an hour or so. So we call in on the numbers that I'll call out. Remember to keep your contributions short and to the point so that as many people can get in on the conversation as possible. And also, as much as possible, let's try to be respectful in our contributions, okay? I'll start with some messages here from much earlier on. Yeah, okay. So this one here, Leo. Leo says most politicians in the Southeast don't want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. He says due to selfish political reasons, okay? And Obedient Man Emeka from NNPC Tower says, good afternoon, Somi. I think that the hands that hold Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should release him because his unlawful detention is long overdue. According to the court, he was brought back illegally from Kenya, which breaks international arrest protocol. And he's asking, why are they holding him for years? Why can't they allow him to face trials for years? Why are the judges upon judges always shifting the goalposts for years? If they can pardon Boko Haram terrorists and pardon murderers and drug barons who have been sentenced to death by the court, I think they should release him. On this note, I support the protests by Shoren and he says our former SUG president. Okay. I would say this very quickly. It's two things here, especially so that we can temper some of the contributions that are coming in. At this point, it's looking like a case of two wrongs in a way, and that I'll explain. Nnamdi Kanu, I recall I was in having a conversation with Joy, who just read the news, and it's not a case of did he not do something wrong. His pronouncements during his broadcast were indeed a thing of concern, so much concern, right? And so the government then arrested him on certain charges, which they've come out to say very clearly. They called it treason and terrorism charges. You may argue and say, did it translate to anything? Well, that's perhaps the fear that some people, especially some callers, have said. It may translate to if he does get out. However, where the second wrong is that this trial has dragged on for so long. If indeed anybody was found culpable in any law that is committed against the land, anything that's committed against the law of the land, then trial should have already started and should be seen to be making progress. I see some people saying, what they call it, it was said that his detention was illegal and all of that, but then our courts, Supreme Court, ruled, in the opposite, to say, look, his trial should continue. So in a way, I think that to some extent, if really except, he and his prosecution lawyers, Nnamdi Kanu and his prosecution lawyers insist that there is no case submission, if really and truly they're at the point where he can go ahead and present his case, because the federal government closed their case earlier on in the year. So if it's a thing of go ahead and present your case, let the law be found to do its work, let the law be found to take its course, as opposed to the continued dragging, detention, do this, do that. And that's why some people are asking if the judiciary system is working. This case has dragged on for too long, for something as high profile as it is. And if the government does have a case, I think it's a thing of go ahead, present your evidence, and prosecute accordingly. And if there is no case, then let the evidence by the defense lawyer show that there is no case. But let the law be found to take its course. I think this is a case, that's why I see it as a thing of two wrongs here. So they're at the point where Nnamdi Kanu is said to present his case. Perhaps if he does present and they're able to prove that there is no case that the prosecution has not enough evidence to ascertain the charges that have been brought against him, and then he's still held in detention, then we'll take it from there. But it's a case of, this man has been charged with certain acts deemed unlawful, and the court case is dragging for so long. 2015 is the first time he was arrested, then let out, and then brought back. And then let's even say, after the extradition from Kenya, what's this? This is 3 years after. And so it just seems like there is it just doesn't seem fair. It just doesn't seem fair. But I believe at the point where they are, it should be a case of the law should take its course right now. Those saying Nnamdi Kanu should be released, if he's able to present his case and get it out, then let him be released. And if he presents his case and there is no case found against him, then let the law take its course. And then if he doesn't, then we'll really sit down and have a conversation around the judiciary. There is already a lot of side eye being thrown their way, but this is the one time that I think that they can prove to the Nigerian people that they are there for the people and they are there to uphold the law and honor what the law says. It's been too long. It's been too long. All right. We'll take a few more contributions and then we'll wrap it up.
Somi, this is Stephen Doroson from Kubwa.
Good afternoon.
I want to comment on the issue of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And in this, I joined the federal other good, well-meaning Nigerians to call on the federal government to let him go, to release him. First of all, his health, and for him to be alive. He is a Nigerian. He was once a patriotic citizen of this country. And then you sit down with him and dialogue with him. Why is it that you suddenly start calling for separation? What is the rationale behind this? Why are you doing that? He will tell you. Then you also reason with him. When somebody start demanding for something he or she has never given sign of, then there must be something that have caused it. So many of us are calling and saying, let's not release him and all that. If he dies there, do you think that will end? Do you think it will end the agitation for Biafra? It can never. It can never. Until this nation treat why somebody can stand up and start agitating, which is marginalization and all that. Until he's treated, until he's taken care of, it cannot stop. And killing him or allowing him to die there will never also stop it. So it's better we all call for peace and ask the government to dialogue with him and resolve the issue. Let this shift ground. Let's be shift ground. Let there be peace. For crying out.
All right. Pius in Maitama says, please educate me. A professor of medicine recommends hospital treatment for Nnamdi Kanu, but NMA says otherwise. Please, both the NMA and the professor, are they not all doctors? Well, I wish I could educate you on this one, because even I myself, I'm a little confused. If Justice Omotosho ordered for his, or rather, perhaps what he was doing was trying to confirm what the doctor says, but I don't know. Shouldn't a report provided by this professor of medicine, as was recommended, shouldn't it be factual enough for the court to work with? But I'm guessing Justice Omotosho wanted to double check. It is the fact that he called the entire NMA or the heads of the NMA to do that I don't know. But that's what we have there, and they've come out to say, again, not that he doesn't have an ailment, but that it is not so life-threatening that he cannot stand for trial, or that he will not be fit to stand for trial. Yeah, it's beyond my mind's comprehension as well. All right, let's take a few more messages, and that will be it. Good evening. The fact is, we are living in the where the strong take the front seat. No hope for the country called Nigeria. Jacob from Lifecam says, for example, how long did it take Finland to mete out justice to Simon Ekpa? It's just okay. Jacob, leave your message at that. Let's take this call. Hello. I hope your line is clearer now. Yes, welcome.
Yes. Can you hear me?
It's good. Let's hope it stays that way. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Just want to go. Thank you.
It has started again. It has started again. Your line has started again. It went.
I can hear you now.
It went silent there for like 3 or 4 seconds. But go ahead though.
Okay, sorry. Let me continue. His lawyers are playing a game. They don't want him to go into trial, and for him to even be given pardon, courts need to finish their own session. Let them convict him or say he doesn't have a case. That way, we'll know that government can pardon him. But this is what I want to say to everybody that said Nnamdi Kanu have done nothing. I pray. I have lost 2 people that I know to his boys that were killed. If anybody say whatever Nnamdi Kanu do is done nothing, I pray that whatever Nnamdi Kanu has melted to people that have died, I don't wish it on anybody. But I just pray that you experience a little bit of the thing.
What happened? What happened in your case, and how did you trace it back to his boys, as you said? What
Because
happened?
his boys, the so-called, whatever they call their name, they killed this guy. He came on from Germany to come and do something in the village. He was going back. They picked him up, and they said he doesn't have to go out that very day. Nnamdi Kanu made an announcement to say anybody who comes out, they are dead. And he doesn't know. He was killed. Him and his friend. So when we come here and start playing this jingle, he didn't do anything, comparing him to Sunday Igboho. Sunday Igboho did not say that they should bring somebody's head. Sunday Igboho did not say he had the life of everybody under him. He can kill and he can tell who to live and who to be killed. Sunday Igboho did not go all those levels. Sunday Igboho did not insult everybody's father. Sunday Igboho did not slap people. Sunday Igboho did not start, even when government say you cannot say in the midst of 5 people. So when we compare these things, sometimes we go emotional. If you have lost somebody to this tyranny called guy, I don't think anybody will come here and be playing politics with it.
All right.
And for me, and I wish that Nigeria will let him face his trial. He knows exactly what he's playing at. If he's saying that he cannot stand trial, government have closed their case, just like you said. They've appealed his bail. They've appealed everything. And Supreme Court say, guy, go and answer your case. What is so difficult in you answering that case?
All right,
Answer the case. Then after that, they can bring the political angle. But I say, government will not release him. He's a threat to the nation.
All
a
right.
threat to the people of that part of the world. And
All right, thank you. Let's end it at that. Your time is up, and my time is just about up as well. So comparisons, right? That's perhaps one of the biggest issues that you have when we're having conversations around Nnamdi Kanu. And it's because the government has been seen to, I don't know that we can draw parallels sometimes, but there are people who have been seen to do some really terrible things. And perhaps if the case of the clemency and pardon list didn't come out, maybe Nigerians would not feel as passionately about this. I don't know, because a lot of people who have made comparisons have taken it to what happened, was that last week with the pardon and the clemency, and some people have also drawn parallels with Boko Haram. Well, on that case, you could say that this is not just a case of pronouncements, but also a case of things that have happened. And the truth is that if anything is wrong at all, it should be called out for being wrong. If the government is seen to pardon wrongdoers, on whatever basis of rationale that they use to do that, then there is a danger of people coming up with suggestions like this as well for an Nnamdi Kanu. I've expressed that is a case of two wrongs not making it right here in the way and manner in which his own prosecution has been handled. I think that it could have been speedily and timely dealt with to prove whether he was wrong or right, whether the charges brought against him were wrong or I think that it could have been better dealt with. But then we're seeing some sort of what they call it now, drama played on both sides. However, it is on the government to put their best foot forward, I would say, in putting an end to this matter. It is on the government to put their best foot forward. Unfortunately, I mean, I was never one who was rooting for or clapped hands around anything that had to do with not just pardons, what would they call it? Rehabilitation programs and all of that. Rehabilitation and reintegration. It is wrong. It is wrong. A wrong has been done. What does the law of the land say? And it should apply to anybody and everybody, no matter whose ox is God. But the problem is, are we seeing this play out in our society? And it is when it doesn't play out as it should that we then start to have conversations like this. If there is a case against him, follow it to the letter, and let it be done with. And that is why I would say, if Nnamdi Kanu has been given a date to present his case, then he and his prosecution team should go ahead and prove whether the his defense team should go ahead and prove whether they have a case with him or not. There's too much going on both sides, and it doesn't bode well for the polity in the long term. But it's on the government, I keep saying this, to put their best foot forward. If it is a case of, the defense team is lagging or is dragging, then the justice system should just do its work and get us out of this mess. This is where we end the conversation. Let's take a break.
Food, school fees, house rent, before salary even drops, it's already...
This is Nigeria Info.